In the months leading up to Worlds, blue and red sides saw a win rate reversal. As the tank meta rose in popularity, blue side's win rate dropped from 63.2% to 44.2%, while red side took the lead. Let's break down what gave red side its unique advantage and exactly how tank meta caused all of this. This episode of Tactics is brought to you by Gamer Sensei. Get one-on-one private coaching and pro tips from challenger players to win more and climb in ranked. Follow the link on screen and enter the code 1KFREE to get a $10 credit with your first lesson. One reason for the increased strength of red side was a change in draft priority. Whenever there's a meta with a few overly strong champions, draft advantage is on blue. They have first picks, so red side either has to ban OP champions or let blue team have them. Meanwhile, blue gets to use their bans with freedom to target more specific picks. This was the case after the big tank rise of patch 7.14. At first, teams were scrambling for priority over champions like Cho'Gath, Maokai, Sejuani, and Gragas, but more recently, the tank metagame stabilized. As teams learned the optimal way of playing against the meta, most picks became reasonably equal. Instead of trying to lock in a few champions as fast as possible, teams get more out of counterpicking the enemy composition. Teams were also able to focus more on composition because of how hard it was to snowball off early kills in the tank meta. Tanks lose very little from dying and gain very little from getting kills. They only need a few items to be useful thanks to their crowd control. On top of that, they have very poor tower damage, and you're not likely to get first tower gold after a successful in-lane kill. All of this makes it really invaluable to gank tanks in top lane. As a result, teams value counterpicking good mid-game teamfight compositions more than early picks, and so prefer drafting from red side. The snowball stagnation up top also makes it so that teams are more willing to invest vision and jungle presence around bot lane, as AD carries can still snowball and work as the main tank killer in later fights. This benefits red side in a number of ways. The fact that you can access the enemy raptors as a red jungler makes extra bot control valuable, as the camp is incredibly efficient. Additionally, since the Dragon Pit faces the red jungle, they have an easier time sneaking drakes with a vision advantage. Lastly, red side map movements are more profitable down bot. If a red mid laner gets ahead, he has a bigger array of pathing options that allow him to roam bot lane to transfer his advantage. This compounds when you consider supports, who can roam towards mid lane with the vision advantage. The red jungler can also use these paths to gank mid and bot more unpredictably. Let's see these principles in action. On Immortal's first semifinals game against CLG, Ole roams unseen through the river and ends up giving a kill to Pobelter. With this advantage, he is now able to push out Huhi and roam through the inside of Immortal's jungle, both helping Xmithie invade and forcing the CLG bot lane to give space to Kog'Maw. This pressure again opens the door for Ole to roam back mid, saving Pobelter's life with a clutch heal and putting Immortals in absolute control over the game. And on top of that, the tank meta makes this bot focus hard to counter. Usually, teams deal with an overcommitment of resources to the bot side by ganking top. They would look for first blood and first turret while their bot lane backed, punishing the obvious plan and trading the dragon for Herald, a pretty positive trade. However, we already know that this is much harder to do with tanks. They're harder to kill and do less damage to turrets than former top champions like Fiora or Kennen. We even wanted to show a recent example of a team targeting top lane to illustrate this counter strat, but the play is so suboptimal that we couldn't find one. No team is ganking top around the 12-minute mark unless they are lane swapping. And one last point. Because snowballing from early kills is harder and tanks are hard to target, teams are running less pick potential than they used to. As a result, Herald has lost a lot of its value, as teams often need to get a kill for Herald to be a true threat to enemy turrets. This puts even more value on bot side, and therefore on red side. From draft priority to gank potential, the tank meta brought a lot of subtle power changes that shifted success to red side. Some of this has since been equalized with the recent Ardent Sensor craze at Worlds, but that's the tactics for another time. Book a lesson on Gamer Sensei and learn to carry your team to victory. First-timers can use the code 1KFREE at checkout to get $10 credit. For more league interviews and analysis, subscribe to our channel. You can also find stats, discussions, and more on our website and mobile app at blitzesports.com.